By the way, so recently I said to a buddy of mine, I was like, you know what? I think the best guitar sound, my favorite guitar sound I ever heard on an AC/DC album was the For Those About to Rock album. He was like, really? I never listened to that fucking thing, and blah, 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 blah. And that was the album that came out right after the Back in Black album, which sold, like fucking 90 zillion copies. So there's nowhere to go after that, right? There's no fucking where to go after that. So no matter what you come up with, people are going to say it's a flop. But I fucking love that album. And it just so happened Dean Del Rey from, Jesus, I just spaced on the name of his podcast. For Those About to Talk. No, Let There Be Talk. I knew it was one of the AC/DC albums. He sent me this great article on the making of the Back in Black album, and it was so crazy to me because I was old enough when that came out. Like, I remember when Back in Black came out, I was 12 years old, and then Dirty Deeds came out, which was actually a Bon Scott, and he was already dead, obviously, and then they released that for whatever fucking reason, now looking at it, which is crazy because Bon Scott dies right after the Highway to Hell album, and AC/DC gets Brian Johnson, and it's literally like, if this guy doesn't make it, they go right back to playing pubs. Who knows what the fuck happens? The band's over. And they end up having one of the, this basically Back in Black album sold more copies than anything, probably other than like Michael Jackson Thriller or Pink Floyd, The Wall. Not The Wall, The Dark Side of the Moon, whatever. Jesus, Bill, get to the point here. So you'd think the last thing you would fucking do is, after you've established a new fucking singer, is then put out some old shit by the last guy who's now dead. So the fucking new guy has to reestablish himself all over again. I never really even thought about that because I just loved everything that they did. And I remember being confused of why Back in Black, the guy on Back in Black sounded so different on Dirty Deeds. Because there was no fucking information back then. There was no internet. Shit just came out. And you're like, oh, another AC/DC album. Then you'd put it on. You had no fucking idea. Especially at 12. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And then For Those About the Rock came out after that. So there's this great article talking about all of that and how that was Atlantic Records. They thought AC/DC was a flash in the pan. And they thought the Back in Black album, I don't know how the fuck you make an album as great as that. You don't think that they have anything else left in the tank. So they were like going, well, let's strike while the iron's hot. And they fucking put out Dirty Deeds, and the band didn't want them to. It had been released, I believe, in Australia and then also in England under a different fucking name. I forget. I used to know all this shit when I was super fucking AC/DC nerd. And also I hadn't talked on a cell phone for 20 years, so I had a memory. But then For Those About to Rock came out. And I remember this fucking kid in gym class going like, you hear the new AC/DC album, Those About to Rock? I was like, I haven't heard it yet. He goes, yeah, it fucking sucks. I remember thinking like, what do you mean? I don't think it sucks. I like that album. I like the first song, and I never bought the album because he told me that it sucked until years later. I finally was just like, fuck this, man. I'm going to buy this album. And to this day, I still listen to that. Like when I go downstairs, walk right into my garage with my fucking gym, right? Which is so awesome. That's what I play. That's what I've been playing lately. And it's fucking hilarious. Like I literally, when I go to my gym now, which is just like back in the day when I lived in my parents' house and I just would go down to the basement and I would play either Appetite for Destruction, the whole fucking album. I used to play that whole album, lift to it, and then I would go play drums to it. Or whatever album I was into. I would lift weights to the entire album, and then I would play drums to it, or try to. So I'm in the middle of doing that. Yesterday, it was fucking, benching day, your favorite fucking day. The only fucking exercise you really keep track of what weight you're putting up. And I had a flashback. I was half asleep, writing all day, and I try to get the workout in before I go into the writer's room so I don't become a fucking fat, pasty fuck. And so I had the 45s on either side, right? I do a set, and then I thought I grabbed 10s, right, to just do 155, and I wasn't paying attention. And And I picked it up off the bar. I was like, wow, this feels really fucking heavy. And I just brought it down to my chest, and I was like, yeah, and I couldn't lift it back. I grabbed 25, so I went up to 185, which, I mean, when you get, that's a lot of weight for me. I mean, that's more than what I weigh. So, so I'm sitting there. I got it on my chest, and Nia's asleep, and I'm going, Nia, and I can't get it off. It took me back to the days when I was living at home with my parents, and I'd be going, Mom, and she'd be going, I'll be down there in a minute. And I'd be down there like with fucking 185, 190 sitting on my fucking pasty chest trying to get it off. 200 pounds was always I was always trying to get up to that, but I'm a middleweight, man. Like, seriously, if I wasn't such a fucking booze bag, I probably should weigh between 160 and 165 instead of $180. But that last 15 pounds, I'm telling you, is nothing but scotch and pizza, right? So I got this shit sitting on my chest, and I'm like, holy fuck. I didn't have clips on it, but I didn't want to dump it off to one side, when you do that, and then you get fucking whipped around, because I was worried I was going to fly into the mirror, right? So I ended up having to roll the thing down like back in the day. And there's that brutal part where it gets right on your fucking hip bones, and then you got to do the little up and over your junk before all the weight rests on your fucking thighs. Oh, it's the worst. I hadn't done it in so long. And the closer it gets to your kneecaps, and then finally you got to do that fucking thing where it just scrapes your knee bones, and then boom, hits the floor. And I did that as a 47, soon to be 48-year-old man.